name of this podcast is Purity of Nature. And essentially, it's all about diving into the purity of self. And the way that that looks is that there's so many aspects of ourselves that we view as wrong or bad or impure or shameful, that if anyone else were to see it, that I would be judged, that I would be ostracized, that I would be unloved. And there are so many little aspects in which we feel like we are wrong for being who we are. And the aspect of purity is really bringing that love and acceptance and that purity back into those aspects that we've rejected within ourselves because of the fear that others will reject us. And so today we're going to play with a little bit of shame. And just notice what shame feels like in the body. And allow ourselves to be in it without trying to fix or change anything at all. And so, the way I'd like to start this today is just by taking a couple of really deep breaths. Allowing yourself to come into your body. Just noticing how your body's feeling right now. If it's feeling a little tight in any areas, feel free to give some movement, create some movement to release any tension, any tightness in your body. And even maybe rubbing your legs, rubbing your arms, and allowing yourself to actually feel what it feels like to be in this body, to be in the body that you've been given. And allowing your belly to hang out. And breathing deeply into your belly, allowing it to expand. And with each breath, allow your lungs to expand a little deeper. Really noticing what sensations you're experiencing in your body. If there's any discomfort, if there's any pleasure, and just allowing all of it to be there. And just taking a couple deep breaths into any sensations that may feel a little bit intense, just allowing them to be there for a minute, breathing into them. So, as we dive into this conversation today, I'm going to set an energetic container. And essentially what that means is that I am setting the space for us to interact so that we can be in this space together. And we don't need to be distracted by anything outside of us, that we can be open and receptive and not be concerned about the externals, about other energies, about other people, about unknowns, or even knowns. And so right now I'm going to set to put some hippy dippy stuff in here, I'm going to set a golden ball of protection around us. And bringing in the element of nature around me, bringing in the nature around you. I'm just bringing in the trees to hold this space, the earth to hold this space, allowing the breath to flow easily, the air flowing in and out, and allowing the body to relax. Calling in water to allow anything that's ready to be released to flow out. The fire to transmute any stuck energy. And so I'd like you to take a couple really deep breaths into your heart. And just noticing what she's feeling. Or he. Or they, them. Just noticing how your heart is feeling in this moment. And see if you can just relax your heart a little bit. Allowing it to spiral open just a little bit. And you'll notice that I am doing some energy work here. So if I have your full consent to do energy work on you as you're in this container with me, in this conversation, in this exploration with me, go ahead and just say yes out loud. Another big deep breath. And so what I'm feeling right now is that there is some grief in this space, whether that's inside of me or inside of you or both, or even just the collective, which is essentially humanity, the people in existence at this time on this earth. Yeah, another big deep breath. And grief is a tender emotion. And for me personally, I found that the easiest way for me to work through my sadness and my grief is by allowing it to just fully be there. Fully. And so there are essentially 3 steps to release any emotion that you have in your experience, in your body. And I feel called to share this with you now. And they're really, really simple. So as I share these 3 steps, it's going to sound almost a little too obvious that it's so small that you may just brush it off. And at the same time, when you're diving into your inner world, into your emotions, into your mind, the thoughts, the stories, the patterns, the things that we keep doing again and again and again, we're like, how come this keeps happening to me? And it's possible to unwind those stories, those patterns, and to actually create something new. And so as we release the stuck emotions in the body, as we release the stored traumas, which can be so small, or so significant. And the term trauma is thrown around all the time. And a trauma is just an experience that we didn't know how to handle at the time. Maybe it felt too big. Maybe it was too emotional. Maybe it felt unsafe. And we felt like we had to keep it all in. We had to contract. Or maybe it was just like, I don't know. I'm so overwhelmed by this feeling. And the trauma is just that we didn't know how to handle it at the time. And because we didn't know how to handle it, we stored a little bit within our bodies, within our minds. And so when we actually dive into those traumas again, as adults, we get to experience them and actually let them go. Because that past version of ourselves didn't know how to release that feeling, didn't feel safe to release that feeling, whatever other reasons. And now you have the opportunity to free yourself from that emotion, from that feeling, from that memory, and from that story, from that belief that you created from that experience. Okay, so 3 steps. 3 steps to releasing any emotion. 1. Let go of judgment. And so as we dive into our feelings, sometimes we judge ourselves. So maybe I feel like I shouldn't feel a certain way about something. Or that, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, why am I harping on this? Why is this still here? Judgment. And so just giving yourself permission to be in judgment. It's like, okay, I'm judging myself for this. Like, wow, I feel really, really upset about this. I still feel angry about this. This is still here. And that's okay. And I'm judging myself. And I'm open to loving and forgiving myself. Yeah. So step 1, letting go of judgment. And it really does come down to forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. So first giving yourself permission to judge. And then forgiving yourself for that judgment. Big deep breath. Okay, step 2 on releasing any emotions. Step 2 is to let go of trying to fix or change it. It's so common when we're in an emotion to be like, when is this going to be over? I want it to be done. I don't want to experience this anymore. Too much sadness, too much anger. I'm done. When will this be over? Like, can I just get through it? Right? Maybe it's too intense. Just a little less. Trying to fix or change it. And it can be as simple as just giving yourself permission to let go of trying to fix or change it. And if that doesn't work, that's okay too. And the opposite approach works too. Just giving yourself full permission to keep fighting it as long as you can. Keep fighting that emotion. Keep trying to fix or change it as much as you possibly can. Do it for the rest of your life. Keep fighting it. And so with that, when you give yourself full permission to do something, it releases the resistance to letting it go. Okay. So step 1, release judgment. Step 2, let go of trying to fix or change it. Step 3, just feel it fully. Just feel the emotion fully. And this sounds so simple, And yet when you're actually in the experience of an emotion, it can be tempting to try to mute it or push it down a little bit or feel a little bit, but not too much. Because what might happen if I were to feel all of it? Big deep breath. Allowing your body to relax, taking a couple more deep breaths. One more. So allowing yourself to feel it fully. And sometimes I've found that in my own process that I will allow myself to just fully surrender to the emotion that I'm feeling. And I find that easiest to do personally with sadness, where I just allow the grief to just roll over me so that I temporarily become grief in that moment. That the grief is just here so fully. And because I allow it, I embrace it, I welcome that sensation, that feeling, that emotion in. It allows me to let go of it. That I can pass through because I'm embracing it. So there's no resistance, there's no keeping it away. There's no pushing it off. There's no pushing it down. There's no suppression or resistance or fighting. It's just allowing it to flow through and to let go. And you may notice that as you start to play with this process, that sometimes you'll be like, oh my goodness, I am going to be stuck in this feeling forever. I am dying. I am not okay. And that's completely normal. That's part of the process. And with that, there's also a couple tools. So I'm going to teach you some tools as well. So as you start to feel these feelings on a deeper level, so I'm personally an EFT tapping practitioner, and you may have heard of tapping on the chest. You may have seen it, tapping all over the body, and essentially it helps to release stuck energy in the body by tapping on the meridians, just like in acupuncture, but instead of putting needles in those meridians, you're tapping on them to release the stuck energy. So this works really well when you're feeling a feeling and it feels too intense. You can literally just tap on your body. Even if you don't know where the points are, that's okay. There's a point down here, underneath, on the front of the rib cage, sides of the ribs, basically in line with where your bra strap would go as a woman, in line with your nipple, inside of the wrist, side of the thumb like you're karate chopping, alongside the nails for each of the fingers. The ring finger is the underside, and then pinky is the top side of the hand, all over the head. And you can look up tapping on YouTube. It's all over the place. You can look at my website as well, sovereignEcstasy.com. And there's a lot of resources out there around EFT tapping. And I found that it can just be a really nice way to just release. But if you find that you're in like crisis mode and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so in it, I'm not okay, here's a trick for you. So you can put one hand on your forehead and one hand at the base of your skull. And so to give you an idea of what that looks like, just at the back of my head and in the front, and just putting moderate pressure, light pressure, just enough to feel like you're really being held right now. And breathing deeply. And so what this does is it essentially is letting your mammalian brain know, the reptilian brain, the like first part of our brain that developed, that it's okay, that we're safe, which is at the base of our skull. And this right here is a tapping point for fear. So if we're activating our fear and also our mammalian brain, it creates safety within us. You can tap the points too, at the base of the skull and your eyebrows. And so, I invite you to start playing with the 3 steps of letting go. So, releasing judgment, let go of trying to fix or change it, feel it fully. And then I have a 4th one, which is magic sauce to add to all of it, which is bring love and acceptance to yourself. So essentially, being compassionate with yourself and being gentle with yourself and giving yourself forgiveness, compassion for your experience, for feeling, that emotion, whatever you're going through. And those are the 3 steps of letting go. And if you're looking to dive more deeply into those 3 steps, there's actually a whole book on it by Dr. David Hawkins. It's called Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. So if you're interested, I would highly recommend that book. It's great on Audible and written. There are a lot of beautiful tools there. And if this video is all you need, that's perfect too. I'll talk to you again soon. Blessings. And I'm going to pop the bubble that we created at the beginning. Boop! Until next time. Thank you for journeying with me in the Purity of Nature podcast with Tracy Caldwell. My hope is that you learn something new about yourself today, and that you will continue to share this medicine with others as you move forward in this world. If you're curious about what it would be like to work with me, check out my website at sovereignEcstasy.com, where you can learn a little bit more about the services that I offer. Blessings to you and to every single being that you touch today. May today be filled with love and connection and new opportunities. Blessings on your journey. Until next time.